Zoya Akhtar's Dil Dhadakne Do portrays marriages as strategic, strained, painful, unfaithful, anything but easy. And in doing so, the film unravels the truth behind the societal ideal of a happy marriage. The Swaddle presents Recasting. In Hindi cinema's typical rom-coms or family films, marriage is often shown to be the zenith of a heterosexual relationship. Every second mainstream film contains at least one wedding scene, which is supposed to usher in a happily ever after for the lucky couple. Very few films try to answer the question, what happens after the wedding? Dil Dhadakne Do, with its ensemble cast and criss-crossing character subplots, manages to do just that. The film takes place primarily on a cruise ship where Kamal and Neelam Mehra are hosting close friends and family for their 30th wedding anniversary celebrations. The main protagonists of the film are the four members of the Mehra family: middle-aged self-made businessman Kamal, high society homemaker Neelam, their underappreciated entrepreneur daughter Aisha, and reluctant heir apparent Kabir. All family members have marriage-related problems. The relationship between Kamal and Neelam is strained at best. Kamal's frequent extramarital affairs are well known, and though she is heartbroken by this, Neelam tries her best to hide her resentment and insecurity. At the same time, we see Aisha suffering through a miserable marriage, where her husband Manav disregards her achievements and opinions, prioritizing his sexual desires over hers and imposing his ideas of when and how they should have kids. And finally, there is Kabir. The Mehras decide to set up Kabir with Noori Sood, a wealthy heiress, to try and get Noori's family to invest in their sinking business. And yet, Kabir falls in love with cruise ship dancer Farah. The premise of these multiple storylines reveals just how much of a strategic alliance marriages really are. More often than not, the married couples in this film put up a show of love and affection in public in order to ensure their social status remains intact. Privately, they struggle to remain happy. And the very couple celebrating their 30-year-long marriage is ironically the biggest example of this contradiction.
Acting क्यों कर रहे हो? कोई नहीं देख रहा.
Through Aisha's and even Neelam's story, the film throws light on the double standards within the institution of marriage, in which it is often women who get shortchanged, be it financially, emotionally, or sexually. And it is women more than men who must grapple with the consequences of a broken engagement or troubled marriage.
सबको पता है इनके बिजनेस ट्रिप्स के बारे में, कहाँ जाते हैं, किसके साथ जाते हैं, क्या करते हैं और कैसे आप प्रिटेंड करती हैं जैसे कि कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. Whereas the truth of the matter is आपके पास कहीं और जाने को है ही नहीं.
The double standards in marriage are also apparent through the casual sexism in other instances, in the way Vinod Khanna jokes with Kamal about how men tolerate their wives, in Indu Mehra's obsession over her daughter's looks so that she can catch a good groom, or in the way Kamal repeatedly body shames his wife. The film also reveals the flaws with advocating compromise as the cornerstone of marriages, and how that often becomes a justification for stifling women's desires. For instance, when Aisha tries to confide in her mother Neelam about her marital problems, Neelam rebukes Aisha for letting her temporary professional success get to her head and tells Aisha to compromise and just stick it out, like she did with Kamal. When Aisha finally voices her desire for a divorce, it becomes something that she must justify to her whole family.
तुम माँ बन जाओगी ना, तो ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स अपने आप खत्म हो जाएंगे.
Unlike most mainstream cinema, the film does not frame divorce as something bad. Instead, it shows how when someone is trapped in a bad marriage, a divorce can be their version of a happy ending. In the climax of the film, once everyone's marriage-related issues are finally out in the open, the Mehras do stand up for each other as a family. Dropping their long-held facades becomes the first step to making their familial relationships more open, honest, and equal. However, as in real life, some issues do fester. Despite being a powerful, independent woman, we see that Aisha still has men coming to her rescue, like when her ex, Sunny, confronts her husband Manav for being patronizing about her work, or when her father physically assaults Manav in her defense. And while Neelam may be prepared to forgive Kamal for his infidelity, she herself admits feeling that if she did leave him, she would have nowhere else to go. So does she really have a choice but to stay? Nevertheless, the highs and lows of different relationships highlight that even if a marriage is grounded in love, it's a difficult journey that tests the limits of compassion and forgiveness. And just like that, we see marriage and married life in a new light. Not as something idyllic or always beautiful, but as broken, imperfect, and messy. Something which needs to be a well thought out choice rather than a social imposition.